Hello, everyone. Yay! Welcome. Today we're talking about the movie Reagan, starring Dennis Quaid. Do you have anything you want to say? Okay.
Not really.
Let's watch the trailer and see what happens.
Welcome to your life.
There's nothing a retired governor can do, but a president. Now he can do a thing or two.
Everybody wants to rule the world.
I will be frank with you that as a citizen, I would not like to see any political party outlawed on the basis of its ideology, because I still believe, Mr. Chairman, that democracy can handle it.
I was a brand new KGB officer, given my first intelligence assignment. A certain actor and union leader.
Dutch, there's a purpose for your life.
You can run from a bully for so long, but after a while, you're going to have to stand up to him.
This is my boy!
There's about to be another war right here in Hollywood. The commies on one side, the mob on the other. And you're right in the middle, son.
If you put as much work into your career as you do making your speeches, you'd have an Oscar by now.
Hello, I'm Nancy Davis.
Hello, Nancy Davis. I'm Ron Reagan.
I'm curious, Ron.
What would you say is the issue of our time?
No question about it. Communism and the Soviet Union.
Get in the game. Run for office.
It's you.
I'm running for governor, and I would like your vote.
I forgot your name.
Do his initials help or are?
Honey, Roy Rogers is here. And he's running for governor.
Ronnie, remember when we met? You told me that you wanted to make a difference in this world. You know what you have to do.
Governor Reagan again, typically, is against such a proposal.
There you go again.
But he was not afraid to take us on.
There's nothing a retired governor can do about the Soviets, but a president.
Now he can do a thing or two.
Welcome to your life.
I was a lifeguard on a river.
There's no turning back.
And I learned how to read the currents. Not just the ones on the surface, but also the ones deep underneath the water.
I am about to start the biggest war of this century, and I'm not going to fire a single shot.
You're going to blow up 8 years of diplomacy.
Well, if you think that got their undies in a wad, you just wait.
What did the president know, and when did he know it?
What would you have me do?
I want you to fight!
Everybody wants to.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Wants to rule the world.
All right, there you go. That's Ronald Reagan.
All right. So I want to preface everything we're about to talk about, is this is looking at the movie as a movie in general. We're not talking about Republicans, Democrats, your feeling of Reagan as a president himself. I
liked Ronald.
I know. I'm not saying I disliked him. I'm just saying I like to say that because, especially in this political climate we have.
Yeah. Sorry.
Immediately, if you like or dislike something, then you support something else, and that is not the case here.
Truth.
This is just about the movie itself. I like any movie about like historical figures, things like this, biopics. You know, like the Apprentice movie that came out about Trump. I thought it was a fantastic movie.
Sebastian Stan was so good.
And I'll tell you now, I'm not a Trump fan, but I like that movie.
That movie was so good.
I thought the movie was very good. I was really looking forward to this movie. I'm a Dennis Quaid fan, even though I don't disagree with certain things he says, but I am a fan of his. And I will say that to say this movie is really boring.
The first half is very slow. I think there's some pacing issues. I'm not a particular fan of the way in which they told the story. It's being told by the KGB guy, played by John Voight. He's telling like his career story in parallel to Reagan's coming up as governor and then president. He's like, I was assigned to follow him, blah, blah.
I'm sure it has something to do with whoever wrote whatever book this is probably based on. My big issue, I think, with this movie outside, I agree with that. The format of the storytelling, I would have much preferred kind of a straight biopic of Reagan, of more of his youth, his acting career, how he got into politics, then delve into the politics stuff of seeing his, his first failed campaign to be a president, then getting into the office. And when he was in the office, he did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And for no matter what you think, Republican, Democrat, or everything else, the one thing Reagan definitely did was made our countries powerful, or at least seem powerful. Because he didn't take anybody's crap.
Yeah, that's what I enjoyed about him.
But he didn't do it in a way that he felt like he was a dictator or like he was just an asshole. He was just like, no, we're America.
Yeah.
Outside force. He didn't attack Americans. He didn't even necessarily attack the parties.
Yeah, no, because that was one great speech in front of Congress. He's like, we're not trying to say Democrat, Republican, or abolish either one or come to a one party. He's like, because like he said, I think democracy can handle the fact that there are two parties. And just in case you didn't know, there's actually four. The other two are just not as big.
Those are the only two that will ever get anybody in office.
I know, but like he said, and I agree. I mean, I think we're seeing now an evolution of both the parties.
Yeah.
Both parties have evolved into something very different than what I think I grew
Well, if
up
I'm not mistaken, Reagan was a
understanding
Democrat at one point.
at some
and then
point.
converted to a Republican.
Yeah.
And I don't know how far back that was. I was thinking I was reading an article about it. But what I will say about this movie is Dennis Quaid is fantastic.
He's great.
I think his age now and his voice, and he was able to capture Reagan without doing an impersonation of Reagan, which is what a lot of people have to do.
He's himself. He just does his version of
and he does the voice a little bit every so often with the drawl, or as he gets older, especially. But I think the hair and the look, because Reagan always had that big ball comb over, whatever.
Like my dad.
Yeah, your dad has that same hair. Pastor hair, yes, very much so. Now, one of the big flaws I do have in this movie, outside of its pacing, because it's just so slow. Not that I expected it to be a heavy action movie. I just thought maybe I look at movies like this in hopes to learn more about the people. I like to come away from a movie like this. Like, I may have hated Reagan going in and come out liking Reagan, or vice versa, but I want to come out with more knowledge about them. Like with the Apprentice, and I use that because it's more recent, and Trump is still obviously in the
center stage right now.
Yeah. I learned a lot about how Trump got to where he's at from a standpoint of who guided him and stuff. And we don't know how much is real and not real in these movies. So I don't take all of it as factual. I'm not that guy. What I did have a problem with this movie is this seemed to be a movie that focused on just the greatest hits of Reagan. It didn't show any of the flaws of Reagan.
Correct. And I really, because it's told from the point of that KGB guy, it's really focused on just the Gorbachev things and the communism and the Cold War. It was really just that, but there was so much more to him. They really lightly gloss over the first marriage. It's like, voodoo.
And it's not that I want to see bad things about Reagan, but I want to see balance.
Yeah. I mean, not everything was just like, yay, great. It touches a little bit on his childhood. And
it's like when you watch something about
but it wasn't
these people, like these musician biopics, and you see how great their music and how beloved they are. Then you see their downfall in drugs or the crimes they commit or this and that. This movie, I felt like didn't do any of that. It felt like it just said, this is a love letter to Reagan.
Yeah.
And all we're going to do is tell the good things that Reagan did, not show any of his faults or his downfalls or, the bad things he did from that light. It did very much feel one-sided. And I'm fine with that. I don't necessarily need negativity. I just would like to see it so that I can balance out. Okay, yeah, maybe he didn't had this issue with his marriage, or maybe he was kind of a douchebag in this thing, or maybe when he was an actor, he was kind of a diva. I'm just adding this. None of this is in the movie. But then when I see his change into this, I say, oh, that's growth, or that's why he did this. And I don't think any of that's there. I think here it's just, we love Reagan. Let's watch him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because it's just really highlights, nothing deep, nothing too bad or negative.
It didn't even tell me anything I didn't know.
Yeah.
Other than like some of the earlier stuff, like before he was president, we didn't know as much. We knew he was an actor and things like this. But like when he got into the politics stuff, it's like, okay, yeah, we lived through all this. We already know all this stuff. So it wasn't. I didn't feel like they were giving me anything.
Yeah.
I just felt like they were telling me, hey, remember this on the news? Here's what happened. It's like, again, it's not a bad movie by any means. It's just very slow. Brilliant performance from him. I can kind of see him potentially getting nominated for something, but they probably won't because of the climate of Hollywood. But I just wish there had been more meat to this.
Yeah, I agree.
And the sad part about this is I've seen a lot of reviews or comments about this movie that if you don't like this movie, then it's automatically because you hated Reagan or you hate Republicans.
I liked Reagan.
Yeah, I did.
You know what? You know what I'm thinking right now? Did we go to the Reagan Museum with your mom? Is that the one your mom went with us? She went to one of them with us.
Maybe.
I feel like I learned the exact same amount walking through that museum.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why we already knew all this.
I already knew this.
That's
why at some point I was just like.
And at the same time,
I'm never getting.
I'm glad you brought that up because we've gone to numerous presidents.
I know. We love. Anytime we pass by one, we go.
And I don't need those places to show the negativity.
Right. Correct.
I want those places to tell me what they did while they were in office. Yeah. I don't even need those places to tell me about their childhood. I want to learn what they did in their office that I didn't know about or I didn't understand. But a movie is telling their life story into their politics. And had they just dealt with the politics only, then I probably could have got that. But then they flash back to the childhood, so say, okay, you're only giving us stuff that's going to deal with that one good thing.
Yeah.
And there just wasn't any depth. And I've seen other people that I've seen, and this isn't everybody, but I've seen a lot of the Republican hardcore people, and I'm not gonna say the crazed ones. I'm just saying in general. They're like, oh, this movie is so good. Have you seen it? Reagan is brilliant. And then I'm like, I told one of them I was talking to the other day. They asked if I watched Reagan, and I was like, I can't wait to check it out. They go, you're gonna love it. It's so good. Yeah. And then I told them I received it, and was gonna watch it. So they asked me, did you watch it? I said, I've never been so bored.
Yeah, it's like
right up there with Wicked bored. And they're like, really? It was so fascinating. I said,
no, we already knew this.
I said, didn't you know all this? Yes, but it's just such a good movie. I'm like, yeah, I didn't find it to be
propaganda.
That great. It's one of those movies that brilliant performance that is just kind of going through the paces of what they're saying, And I believe this is also put out by one of those faith.
Yeah, it's one of those faith-based
things. So that makes me.
Someone's like, this was like a movie of the week. It was
fine.
I
agree with that. It's kind of what it felt like. It's like some of you might have watched on the History Channel or Lifetime or something like that. Again, not a bad movie. If you like watching these kind of biopics, if you want to watch, if you like Reagan or anything like this, I think it does Reagan justice. It just doesn't give us more to chew on and learn from.
This is like high praise for Dennis Quaid. Right? Got it. But this movie was nothing but a love letter. Showing zero flaws.
Yep, that's exactly my problem.
Yeah, but it was fine. But I agree. I think we knew everything because we go through all the presidential. I feel like I already knew all this stuff, and they didn't even show a lot of his family stuff, like his kids, a lot of other stuff. I'm telling you, they gloss over some things, and they're just hitting the fight against communism. That's all this is.
Yeah.
I
was very let down because I was really hoping to dive
we wanted a little more meat.
A story about Reagan, learn more about Reagan, and get to see them recreate and hope for a good performance. We got the good performance, but I didn't think it got much of it.
And I think the lady that played Nancy was really good. What's her name? Penelope Miller. She was so cute because you know when she starts dating and she's like, yeah, I ride horses all the time, and you see her on the horse that first time, and she's just like. And I'm like, that lady has never ridden a horse in her life.
No, it's got a great
and they have good scenes together and they work really well together. I mean, it was great, but it was just
this is, if anything, this is a Dennis Quaid show.
Yeah.
And if his performance doesn't work, the movie doesn't work. And that's the other thing. A lot of the makeup and the coloring looked weird.
Oh, this is the one that everybody looked really reddish.
Like the orangish colored, and they're
it was weird.
Like John Voight, they made him look young and he looked fake.
Yeah.
So that goes back to the TV movie look.
Yes.
It did very much
little
look
reddish
like that.
orangish.
And I'm sure some of that was budget. And so I try to let that go. But I was just like, why does it look so weird in this movie?
I said it looks like it was made in the 80s, of which it's talking about. They did the makeup of the time period.
And not good.
The filming of the time period. Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, well.
You can check out Reagan, available now on digital, Blu-ray, DVD. Decide for yourself. If you like Reagan, go check it out.
You can watch it on.
At least
rent it online on the Prime.
Yeah, for nothing else, watch it for his performance.
Yeah, that's good. All right, tell me about our giveaways.
We got a bunch of giveaways, some old,
website.
some new. We got the Terminator North by Northwest on 4K. We got Blazing Saddles and 4K copies of Interstellar. We've got Watchmen Chapter 2 and digital copies of Conclave, which hopefully we'll get to talk about sooner than later.
We will. All right. Thank you so much for watching the show. We'll see you next time.